goosebumps every time, yeah, 713. To the 281, yeah, I'm riding. Why they on me? Why they on me? I'm flying, sipping low-key. I'm sipping low-key at Onyx, riding right up. I get those goosebumps every time. I'm around, yeah. These I'm mine, you make everything feel fine. I get those goosebumps every time. I need the Heimlich, throw that to the side. I get those goosebumps every time, yeah. When you're not around, we can throw that to the side. I get those goosebumps every time.
Up the mugs. Yes, sir.
Come on! Get in. Nice one, nice one.
Yes.
How do we do these shows when we win? I can't remember.
It feels like a long time ago, mate. I'm not gonna lie.
It's been a while. It's been a while. Welcome to Logan's Mag NUFC. Pete is on the brandy. It's Christmas after all, I suppose. It's getting close now. Pete, why not?
Yeah,
but welcome to Logan's Mag NUFC. This is a reaction show to us battering Leicester City. Leicester City. Who do I know lives there in Leicester City? Oh, it's you, Pete. How are you anyway?
They've all gone quiet. Can't hear a word from any of them. I love it. Feel great. Feel good. What a weekend. And what a weekend it's still yet to be. I'm buzzing, mate. Not gonna lie. Sure we'll get into it, but everything that I asked for from the boys this weekend, we got. So happy days, mate. Happy days. But how about you, fella? How's things?
All good. A great day. Got to catch up with one of my buddies. I hadn't seen him for a few years, actually, with everything trying to get things going on. But I got to catch up with them right before kickoff, and then into the game. But we'll talk a bit more about the game. We know Chris tonight. Actually, Chris is celebrating his birthday yesterday, Friday the 13th. So Chris is out celebrating. So I'm sure he's a big smile on his face as well. We'll catch up with him during the week. But let's get into this, Pete. Let us talk us through this game. So let's go to the lineups first, because I did listen back to Away Days. Great show at the Away Days with the blue tinted specs. That was going on with the Leicester City fan channel. So as we knew, no Popey. Popey is going to be out for at least a month. We already knew about Wilson and the story there. But what did you make of the lineup, Pete?
Kind of what we expected. I wasn't going to lie. I was hoping for a Vakadimos in goal, but it all kind of pointed towards a Martin Dubravka start. But then the rest of the team, you looked at it and you thought it was kind of expected to be. Positives, Tonali back in the team, in at the six. We'll talk a bit more about him later. And Anthony Gordon starting. They were the two big standouts because obviously they didn't play against Brentford. We wanted to see that they were back in the team, and they were. Obviously, the question marks about who was going to start. I think in Away Days on the match preview, I did toy with the idea of potentially Barnes playing against his old club, but Eddie Howe stuck to his guns, and I think we're maybe quite thankful that he did, because Murphy started on that right-hand side. Everyone else, mate, I fully expected to be in the team. But what about you? Any sort of differences, or you're on the same page?
No. With what we have, I was happy with the lineup when it was announced. But you were very close in the score prediction, Pete. I got it. I think I predicted it right.
Hey, get out of it! Get out of it! Right.
Yeah, my ploy was.
If people saw our chat every time there was a result, I'm sure I wasn't on the Away Days, but I'm pretty sure that's the result I predicted. That's what we kept getting.
I kept up on it, and because to try and get more goals, that was my ploy. But this is the Leicester City squad as I took to the pitch as well. Their lineup for the day. Let's get into the game. Did happen to miss more or less the first 20 minutes with fighting with streams and stuff, but Cheers, Bean. Sorted me out after that. But early. First of all, Bruno loses the toss again. But it could have gone either way then. But early chances for Newcastle. I did see one where Gordon put the ball across. Byrne got a header. Looked to be the best of them. And there was a few different crosses coming in into that Leicester box, but I'll move past that because I did have a proper stream then coming on 23 minutes. Gordon had a chance, but it was taken off his toe. 26 minutes. Murphy tries to pass it in to the bottom corner as the rebound fell to him. But speaking of that 20 million pound man, as Chris Hall has deemed him. Where is he going? 20 million. Well, maybe on today's performance, add that to the clip reel. But on 30 minutes, this happened. On the right from Hall corner, nice little routine. The 20 million pound man it would be at the end of this year, but passed it to Tonali. Gordon went on the overlap. Ball cut back to Jacob Murphy, who finished it off. It was really, really nicely worked. Goal for Murphy. Must be his first of the season because I didn't have this already lined up in the system. But 1-0 Newcastle, and cue the celebrations. What was the celebrations like in your house, Pete?
Luckily the boy was busy. He was playing on one of his games that when I jumped up and celebrated, he didn't react to it when he normally does. Absolutely buzzing at it. Frustrated because there was a couple of opportunities that went a begging for Murphy before he got that goal. And I have to say, it was a fantastic finish. It was a great set piece, like a great, really nicely worked move with the ball into Gordon. Gordon obviously just puts it back into Murphy, and there's a lot of players in and around that goal, so it's not easy. It's not easy for him to find the position that he does, but he slots it in perfectly into the corner where the goalkeeper can't get to. And I thought the goalkeeper actually played well in that first half before he was injured. But I thought it was a fantastic finish. And he does have it in his locker. He doesn't always produce it, as we all know, but he does have that type of finish in his locker. And it was a very, very good finish. So fair play to him.
Justifying the price tag that Chris Hall put on him. But yeah, let's move on because there's more to come and more goals as well. That was not the end of the action. 32 minutes, Isak shot across the goal, but it looked offside. He was offside. 36 minutes, Isak threw after a J7 ball, but he shot straight at the keeper. He should have finished that. I think this is the one we're talking about, Pete, that he should have finished. 37 minutes, penalty shout, Bruno in the box. But he did kind of fall over before the impact off from Vestergaard. So
there was contact though.
A bit, but he was falling at the same time.
I've seen players fall more than that and be given a penalty. I mean, look, I'm not arguing the penalty, but I think certainly from the commentators from the game I was watching, like from the channel that I was watching, they emphasised that he was already on the floor by the time contact was made, but that wasn't quite the case. So I'm not annoyed that the penalty wasn't given, but it wasn't as clear cut. I don't think is what the commentators made out. But that's, like I said, it's my opinion.
Cool. Couldn't understand my commentators, but anyway, let's move on. The Newcastle press was back, and the intensity was back as well. Leicester City attempting to counter when they could, but Newcastle swarm and they break it down really. But so that on halftime, 1-0 Newcastle. But 1-0, it's a dodgy scoreline. It hasn't worked for us in the past, and we did need more. But I will move into the second half because we didn't have long to wait. Because on 47 minutes, we have a Bruno goal, a Gordon free kick, but to the back post. Hall with a header across. and headed goal by Bruno. Make it 2-0, and another set piece there routine. Really, that we've been crying out for them for ages, and now we got 2 in a row. So yeah, 2-0 Newcastle. Actually, here's the old Bruno celebration as well, because that's Bruno's first goal of the season as well. So something new to put up on screen as well. Cue the obviously this celebration from our captain. And deserved his goal, and of course he's playing in that kind of number 8 position now. So we may see more goals from Bruno as the season progresses. But Pete, let's see your thoughts on Bruno's goal.
Again, a fantastic move from Newcastle. Like, to be fair, this was a common theme throughout this game. Some of our set piece movements and the ways we manipulated the ball, I thought was absolutely brilliant today. Lovely clipped ball in. From Gordon, he's going well away from goal. So you're kind of thinking, what have they got? What have they got cooked up here? When he kind of clips that ball in, but Hall, brilliant header across goal, and Bruno has to get up quite high because where it lands, it's quite high up in the goal. So he's got to get up high to be able to keep it down, to be able to get it in, and he does. He does it fantastically well. And yeah, it's a great header. And at that point, it was a sigh of relief, because I'm not going to lie, Daz, at half time, I was very much like, we're dominating. We've got the goal, which is brilliant, but we need to put these to bed. We need another goal just to be able to settle the nerves a little bit. And I was a little bit worried that, if we drop off and allow them to get a goal back into the game and it's 1-1 out of nothing, it just tips the game upside down. And we've had moments like that in previous games where we haven't quite got that other goal really to kill it. So brilliant goal, really, really well worked goal. Brilliant stuff from Gordon, Hall, Bruno to finish. But it was the relief that we got that second goal, because I have to be honest, mate, at that point when we got that second goal, I thought, this is the game here. This is the game. You didn't really see at that point where Leicester were going to get back into it, even so early into the second half. But did you have the same sort of thoughts, or did you think anything differently about the goal, mate?
Yeah, no, I wanted another goal because just to be sure, But no, absolutely delighted, and that man Bruno that we've been talking about during the week as well. But still not selling Bruno. Absolutely delighted we're 2-0 up. But at this point, actually, I'm going to, because I see we're well over 100 in the chat. Make sure you smash that like button. Smash that like button. And if you do, I'm going to set a target, Pete. I'm going to set a crazy target, because we don't have 150 in the chat yet. But if we get 150 likes, we'll go for a new outro. I have a new tune on an outro. So let's give that a whirl. But we need to get 150 likes, so you know what to do. Right, we'll keep going. 49 minutes. Gordon to Hall, ball across, bit of a deflection. That man Isak with a tap in. You don't see this man getting a tap in very often, so it's nice to see it. To make it 3-0. Cue the celebration from Isak, and here's the little. You have to play this as well. Goal from Isak. 3-0 up. Surely it's done and dusted then, Pete. And this is it's like 2 minutes after the Bruno's gone, so we didn't have long to wait at all.
No, not at all. I couldn't quite believe it, I'm not going to lie. 2 goals in 2 minutes. It's the dream scenario. We've got that second goal. We're like, yes, get in. We've got that security of the second goal. But then to go and blitz them for a third, dreamland. And again, really good play. Really nice little intricate movements. I think it was a ball over from Tonali, who starts the move, not for the first time, by the way, starts that move over. I think it's a little bit of a movement between Gordon and Hall. Hall clips it in, takes a little deflection off the defender, but enough to put it into the path of Isak. And Isak's, the word I had in my head for Isak for that one, poacher. He's a proper
fox in the box.
Oh yeah, and you don't really attach that word or that phrase with Alexander Isak, but I have to say he's adding that element to his game this season, where he's just popping up in the right positions, getting those little tap-ins, those little poacher type goals. Hey, they all count at the end of the day, and he's in the right position to get the goal and get the win. So fantastic all round with regards to that. But again, I have to say, mate, the football in the build-up to those goals, I thought was brilliant. The understanding, the movement, the passing, there was a real sort of pattern of play to what we were doing today, which I haven't seen for a while. And there's a couple of people in the chat. I think Andy's mentioned it, and maybe William had mentioned it. I think I could be wrong, so apologies if I am. But like, you know, I don't want. Look, this there was some really good stuff here, but Leicester were coming in good form, like under Ruud van Nistelrooy, and yeah, they're down there, they're fighting. But I thought we played some really good stuff here. I don't want it to be about Leicester are poor, Leicester are rubbish. Now we made them that way. Some of our football today, I thought, was brilliant, and that type of goal there, that third goal was an absolute classic example of what we did to dismantle this team today. So I do want to just emphasize that it was about us. Let's make it about us today and what we did well. And that goal I thought was absolutely fantastic. Bit of football, bit of movement, really just pulled them all over the park. But that's your thoughts on the goal, mate. What was your reaction to that third goal?
My reaction was absolutely pure delight. I just thought back as well to a tap in, and Isaac doesn't get there. But I was listening to Pod on the Time this morning. I was going doing the grocery shopping, but Taylor and George, they were saying that he seemed to always want to try and score the most perfect goal, but it's nice to see him get a tap in as well for a change. Shout out to Pod on the Time lads as well. Your alternative go-to podcast, and still loaded every now and again. But yeah, let's move on. We do have to wait a while for a goal, so I hope you don't mind waiting a while. So, because 51 minutes, Murphy shoots over after being played in by Isaac. Yeah, he walloped it then. He could have got 4 today, 4 or 5. Murphy, the £20 million man. And then a save from Dubs, a rare save from Dubs, and they needed 54 minutes, 56 minutes. Isaac shot after a nice move, we went straight at the keeper. 59 minutes. Yeah. Here we go again. It's the Murphy goal, the second one. Great work by Isaac, and kind of laid it on the plate for Murphy, and he slots it home. Cue the celebration again. We have to play it one more time. Murphy doesn't just get one; he gets 2. At this time, Pete, you must have been disappointed because your prediction was out the window.
Not one bit. Not one bit. I was very, very happy to see my prediction get smashed out of it. So for anyone that didn't watch the away days, I did say I thought I was going to go big. I was going to say Newcastle were going to win 3-0. So when I saw 4-0 on there, I wasn't disappointed at all. Absolutely buzzing, in fact. And again, another really well worked goal. Ball out to Isaac on the left hand side. Honestly, I've said it a few times after the game. Those centre backs, Connor Cody and Vestergaard, they must have been having absolute nightmares having to mark Alexander Isak today. It was hilarious watching the panic on their faces whenever he got the ball in spaces where he was 1-on-1 against them, and he got there a few times. And again, he was up. I think he might have been up against Vestergaard in that situation, but he twists and he turns as he's cutting inside, and the defender is going one way and the other. He doesn't know what to do, and then just
you think he's going to do a Van der Ven and fall on his face? Is that which way to go?
It could well be. It could well have been, mate. Honestly, it was that type of situation because he just twists and turns you. I think they called it twisted blood. The way he just is in and out constantly, and finds that little pass out to Murphy, and Murphy had a chance earlier on in the half, which you'd already touched on, where he blazed it over where he should have scored, but you could see he composed himself, he set himself, took a nice little step, and kept it really hard and low. He knew he made that mistake the first time where he got height and he blazed it over the bar, kept it nice and low, straight between Ward's legs, and at that point. Genuinely, and Locks also said this in the chat. Leicester fan, he said, "This could be 7 or 8," and I genuinely thought that because we had chances to score additional goals. And you just thought at this point, could it be? Could we continue it on and continue smashing in the goals? But yeah, absolutely buzzing, mate, when that went in. And had to say, fair play to Jacob Murphy. 2 goals in the game, 2 very, very good finishes. So fair play to him at that point. You're thinking, he's justified his selection in the team. He's put 2 goals on the score sheet for Newcastle to ensure that we're getting the 3 points. Happy days, mate. But what about you? What do you make about the goal and as well as that, Jacob Murphy? What are your thoughts, mate?
Well, I'll answer that, but I'm going to Lee Jones, because Lee Jones goes, who needs a right winger? We've got Murphy. Only joking. Man of the match today for Lee Jones, though. Shame he didn't get a hat-trick. Yeah, it is a pity he didn't get a hat-trick, of course. But right, so what do I think of the goal? Where are we going with the goal again? Back to the other page. Oh, it was just great work by Isak. Really, he laid it on the play for him. It was just like that movement. It was. I thought he was going to go by himself first, Isak, but no. And when he came to Murphy, I thought, oh no, is he going to blast it over the bar again? But he made sure of it this time. And fair play to Murphy, who a great day out for him altogether. But let me see where we go next, because then I was called for time to make some changes and rest some legs for the Wednesday night's game against Brentford. Did Lee Jones did predict 4-0. Nice one. I saw someone on Twitter as well had a tenner on 4-0 at 10-1. So nice little sorry, the 20 I think on it. It was nice. But Gordon nearly got in on the act as well on 63 minutes. But then here comes the first batch of subs. So Murphy come off, so he wasn't getting his hat-trick. Barnes come on. Nice to see Barnes come on and get to come on against Leicester. He's former club. Tino come off. Trips come on. And Bruno, who was on the yellow, come off, and Longstaff came on. 66 minutes, another nice move. Great passing that, but it kind of breaks down in the box. I think it broke down when Longstaff came to Longstaff, but it did nothing to come of that. Then a bit of a downer. 70 minutes, J7 gets a yellow card. A mistimed challenge, a bit needless in a way, but now he's going to miss that game against Ipswich. So that thoughts? Any thoughts of that, Pete?
With regards to what's the come?
Joe Seven going to miss the game, and it was probably always going to happen that he's going to get the suspension.
It was always going to happen, but I was disappointed in the way in which it happened. He didn't need to go in for that challenge there. When you're 1 yellow card away, you've just got to be more careful. We're winning 4-0. We're comfortable in that position. Like, he doesn't need to go into unnecessary tackles if he doesn't need to. They were barely putting like a lace on us. They were doing absolutely nothing in the game, Daz, and it was frustrating. But it was very much typified what we're seeing from Joe Linton at the moment. Just very erratic and very just very silly in terms of like the decisions that he's making that are costing the team. But look, maybe it'll be a good thing for him that he doesn't play. I think we've got replacements. Willett, Longstaff, Miley. There are other players who come in for those games. And I'll be honest, and people might not agree with me with this, Joe Linton hasn't been playing well at the moment. So what he normally gives us, he hasn't really been. And so for me, it's not for me, it's not the biggest, it's not the big miss that it would have been had he been at the top of his game. We're playing well without him being that all-action bulldozer midfielder. We very much played a different way today. And that fills me with confidence that we don't have to rely on his all-action, all-running, bulldozing behaviour, because we haven't seen it for a good couple of games, 2 or 3 games, in fact. So, again, just my opinions on that. But, look, it is what it is. At least he gets it out of the way then, and then he's got a run of games where he can be fit and available. I would much rather it be Ipswich than I would Brentford, Villa or Man United. Gives him a bit of time. He'll play midweek. It'll give him a week's rest up until the Villa game, and then we go again. So
yeah, cool. I'll be the same. Okay, 72 minutes. Tonali hit a half volley wide. Isak comes off. Good. I was a bit afraid with Isak still being on the pitch at this stage. He would have been one of the first I would have taken off, considering we don't have another striker. Well, we do, Osula, because he did come on instead of Isak, and he did all right as well. Because a lot of the time he was on the pitch, that 20 minutes, so it was keep ball from Newcastle. So yeah, he did all right at what he did. But 78 minutes, Barnes had a shot from distance. 10-0. Great, 79 minutes. Great work from Osula, and he setting up Barnes, but that shot was saved. Gordon comes off then as well on 80 minutes, and Willock come on. I would say shout and get Gordon off as well, just to preserve him for the game on Wednesday. 84 minutes, Barnes shot from distance straight at the keeper. 86 minutes, Hall had a chance, but it was a poor header from a Barnes cross. Then the massive series of passing and keep ball from Newcastle for the next, I'd say, nearly 10 minutes, 8 minutes at least. But full time, I was going to say 1-0, 4-0 Newcastle. And step one and mission one complete of a series of missions that are needed in the next few games. But let me just count up the goals again. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, it's 4. Yeah, definitely 4. So that was a nice little picture there as well. And we haven't seen this for absolutely ages. One of these. Great to see everyone in that picture as well. And even Botman's in it. Botman back in it as well. So all good, all smiling faces.
Yeah, I've missed it. Not gonna lie, missed that picture. It's been a while since we've seen it. So yeah, great to see. Was it? Am I right in thinking it was Forest? Was it Forest last time?
Yeah, probably was. Yeah,
before the international. Jesus Christ! Yeah,
seems ages.
Long time ago.
Just a reminder, because we're heading towards the 200 people watching live now. But smash that like button, and might be a new outro at the end of the show. Pete, your summary of the game.
Summary of the game. I tweeted that earlier, but it's exactly what all Newcastle United fans wanted. They wanted the boys to turn up and put a performance in to really kind of show that they'd put that game against Brentford aside, and they're committed and they're ready to really kind of roll their sleeves up and put themselves through the mire over the course of this festive period. Because we've got some big games coming up, some really important games that we need to get points in. And we needed to see a reaction from these players today. And they absolutely gave us that. The first 5 minutes or so, Leicester really were aggressive against us and came up to us, pressed us high, put in some really meaty challenges in the early stages. And you thought, oh, like, they're going for this. But when Newcastle kicked into gear, we just didn't stop. I used the word relentless to describe Newcastle United, particularly in the first half. They just kept going and going and going. And what I really liked about the team, Daz, is that whenever they got an opportunity, whether it's in the edge of the area or in the box, they had a shot. They were willing to put themselves in front of goal and have a shot and work the opportunities, which we've missed. We haven't seen it a lot from this team. And when you're, ultimately putting 27 shots on goal, you are going to be making sure that the keeper works. 11 on target. We really kind of pummeled the keeper at times with opportunities. And yeah, they might have not, been close to scoring, but you're making the goalkeeper work and you're building confidence that way that you're putting chances on target. It has been an issue for us. So I was really, really pleased about that. But the pattern of play and the way in which we played our football today is what I was really impressed about the most, is that we were consistent with the way in which we played. We had a lot of possession today. We held possession quite a lot for long parts of the game, and we made it count because we scored 4 goals off the back of it and probably should have had 7 or 8, in all honesty. 60% possession. Normally, I'd be saying to you, Daz, and saying to Chris as well, let the other team have the ball and we hit them on the counter. Well, we didn't today. We had possession and we made it work. And I tell you why we made it work is that midfield made it work today. That midfield is the best it's been in a long while. And I have to say, Sandro Tonali and Bruno Guimaraes are a big part of why we were able to do what we did and dismantle this Leicester team, which is why I'm saying to people in the chat as well, let's not look about how poor Leicester were. Yeah, they were poor, but we made them look poor because of how we dominated possession, how many times we created opportunities in their box. 51 touches, I think, in their box, maybe more than that. I think it might have been well over 50 by the end of the game. But at 87, 88 minutes, commentator said we had 51 plus touches in their box. That means that we were dominating in their area, in their part of the pitch, to create opportunities. We haven't seen that from Newcastle United. And yeah, might only have been Leicester, but let's not remember. Let's remember the situation that we've been in that we have played against teams near the bottom of the league and haven't performed. Well, today we did, and we did emphatically perform. And it was a fully deserved 3 points for us. So really, really impressed with that, Daz. But from yourself, what was your kind of overall thoughts, reflections, feelings once that final whistle blew just after 95 minutes, mate?
We gotta win. We got a W. We've been waiting so long for it, and goals and the team photo with celebrating and everything. So yeah, and it's just like we said that we've been setting targets, so their state of play show, and they've got over the first hurdle, but it is only the first hurdle. Before I hate this picture now. I absolutely hate it. That's what. It's done. It's done. Let's then go to this one on Wednesday, but we'll talk about that in a few minutes. But performance, thought Hall was outstanding. Thought Tonali, like I said it to you after the game in our chat, like when a year and a half or so before we ever even went near to Tonali, we were talking about who would you like to sign, and I identified Tonali, and I was kind of describing him as a number 6, but can also play in different positions. But we haven't seen him in the number 6, and a couple of weeks ago we were calling out for him to be playing the number 6. Eddie didn't. He probably wasn't listening to us, but he did made that change, and then it was a case of why did we leave him out of games? But I don't think he should ever play anywhere else apart from that number 6 as well, because he's just class in that position, and it allows Bruno to move forward, which he got a goal today. So that unleashes him a bit and being more creative. I know needs must when injuries and suspensions, we will need to rotate, and he'll have to play in different positions, but he's just perfect in that position now. Gordon back to himself as well, putting in loads of crosses. Isak as well, just the wiry nature when he's running at defenders, and it just a joy for us to watch. Probably not for our opposition fans, or definitely not defenders. But yeah, and even Dubs didn't have much to do today, but like we got a clean sheet. That's something as well. We haven't had one of them for a while either. So and of course he's a bit of experience in the League Cup, having a winner's medal. Don't
go there.
Oh yeah, I get reminded of that. I get reminded of that from my United fans every now and again. But yeah, so all positive today. It's been a long time coming. But yeah, we'll move on. Yeah, maybe we look at the actually, before I go to the league table, I'll just play this from the Radiator Shed, just to give a quick shout out to Russ and the crew. Where do I have it? I have it here somewhere. Boom. Yes, sort your radiators out with Russ. And you can contact him on 077-666-04112 or at russ@theradiatorshed.com. Mention Loaded as well for a discount. Why don't you? But let's look at the league table, because we only really like to look at it when we win.
Just before you bring the league table up.
What?
Come on, people. You know it makes sense. Let's get us 250. We've got well over that in the chat. You know it makes sense. Just takes a second to click that like, but it means that we get the new outro. So I've not even seen it. Let's bring it. Come on.
Yeah, it's a different tune. It's a different tune. I'm gonna try it out and see. I like the tune anyway. We'll see what other people think of it. But let me share the league table. Oh, this is the one here. Yes, so we are sitting in. We've moved up a spot. Yes, we're up to 11th. Nearly into the top half of the table.
A win or a comfortable win for Chelsea tomorrow against Brentford will see us in the top 10. Because the same points, and they've got a better goal difference than by one. So if they win 2 or 3-0, Chelsea, I mean by that, against Brentford at home to Brentford tomorrow, it'll put us back into the top 10, and it could have been better. If Liverpool had won that game today, it would have put us already in the top 10, and we could potentially be going into 9th. But look. As
it's irrelevant at this stage.
It is, but it could. The point is it could have potentially been a little bit more pleasant for us, but we moved up, as you said.
Yeah. And look, credit to Fulham. I think Fulham are having a great season. Like as our Bournemouth really, and like we can't rule out, and that's far as they are having a brilliant season. I'm sure Wolfie will no doubt tell us more about it on Top Table Talk during the week. But you know what? There's no point getting too carried away about, even from fourth down, not out of the question. But we need to get put back-to-back wins, stay in the cup, and back-to-back wins in the league, and they go into the Villa game and the Man United game after that. So yeah, a lot to be done. But I'll stop sharing that league table for now because it'll definitely change, hopefully for the better for us as the weeks progress and the games come thick and fast.
It just goes to show what it is, Daz, in that league table. A couple of wins down the line. We're looking ahead here and we're looking past the cup a little bit, but I know that Ipswich won today with the last-minute winner against Wolves.
Yes.
But we win at Ipswich next week. Some of the teams around us are playing each other. Potentially could put us right back up the table again, and again the narrative then changes. It's very, very different. Still a lot of work to be done, but this win allows us to be more positive in terms of our forward thinking. Certainly going into Wednesday and then on Saturday.
Yeah,
but Saturday's a winnable game. I know a lot of people have said.
It definitely is. Yeah,
a lot of people
it's our away form. It's our away form. We have to set a mark, get an away win, because we haven't. I can't remember the last time we had one. But before all that, it's this game on Wednesday in the cup. We owe Brentford. I would be going into that game thinking we're 4-2. It's 4-2. We're 2 behind. We need to go out of the traps again at home and go straight into Brentford. And there's definitely going to be goals in this game. There's no way this is going to be a 0-0. It's going to be goal fest again. I think partly for both sides. But let's get into them and make sure we're in the. I assume the draw is on that Wednesday night. I haven't checked this out.
It should be.
I assume
I think if I'm right in thinking all the ties will have been played by the end of Wednesday night. So then, the semi-final draw should be then made. It's a very quick draw, so it should be made pretty soon after the games have been finished. And got to be confident now going into that game back at St James's Park again. All players that played today seem like they're in a good clean bill of health. Some players have been rested ahead of that game. We need to go hell to leather for that. Really turn it on.
You said Chelsea play Brentford tomorrow. Is it tomorrow?
Yeah, tomorrow.
Yeah, so they have a really short turnaround time going into that game then as well. So
a few people in the chat are feeling sorry for Brentford about that. I'm not.
I would.
I wish they were playing on Monday. I'm not going to lie.
I wish they were playing Wednesday morning. But yeah,
if it means that it gives us the edge, and hopefully it does. Who knows? It doesn't always. If it means it gives us the edge, then so be it. Like if we could benefit from that, Absolutely. We should take that and run with it. Remember, they're coming to us, St. James's Park, under the lights. We need to make sure that that atmosphere is absolutely blinding and electric. And we need to make sure we get behind those boys. And I'm sure we'll see a very similar performance to what we saw today if we can do that. No doubt about it.
And you know what? If we're in the hat for the draw, we'll do a live draw. How about that? Let's do a live draw. If we're in the hat, and a bit of a reaction to the game as well. So keep your eye out on that on Wednesday night. Pete, let's get some action from the chat. What are the chatters saying?
Yeah, lots of questions, lots of points in there. Great to see so many people and so many people coming in. Again, if you've just come into the chat, make sure you give that like. We've been set the target of 150, and we're going to see the new outro at the end of the show. But of course, our resident spanner always with us in the chat and always puts great questions in. As well, he's put a comment in today. Tom Dixon, Tonali was the best player in the park. Surely Howe can't drop him again. Great result. Could have had 6 or 7 today. What did you make of Sandro Tonali playing in that number 6 today? What do you make of his performance, lads?
I just thought he was class, mopping up where he needed to, starting things as well. Like Bruno, he can give a long range pass, short range pass. It's that position suits him to me. And as I said, it allows Bruno to run forward as well, and they can chop and change a bit as well when needed. They can cover for each other. So I agree with Tom. Probably best player himself, and Hall was unreal as well. But you can't be dropping him now. No, this is it going forward.
Yeah, you said it. This is it. Sandro Tonali has to play every single game now for Newcastle United. I thought he was absolutely superb today. I thought he was absolutely superb. That number 6 role he's relishing in, and it all depends. I said this to Liam Kennedy during the Arsenal, just before the Arsenal game, and when I caught him just before we went into the stadium, and it all depends on what you expect from Sandro Tonali. Some people are saying, "Oh, he's not got any goals or assists for the team. He's rubbish because he's not producing." Some people have said that genuinely, and I'm like, okay, that's the modern way of judging a player now: goals and assists for everything. Now, if you're not doing that, you're not a good player. But from an old school point of view, I'm looking at what he gives to the team. And this is interestingly, I got a message during the game from Vinny, the AC Milan fan.
Yeah.
He messaged me and he was like, watching your game, and he was like, you guys are not messing around today. And clearly, he was obviously watching and
scouting.
He did say to me he's coming back to AC Milan. I said not to check.
He's got that rumor during the week, Pete. That's what he's latched onto now. Sandro's unhappy. Yeah,
he hasn't seen the Newcastle sides and the agent come out. That's what he is. But going back to Sandro, this is what he did at AC Milan. This is why we paid the money for him, because not because of his goals or his assists. It's because of how he connects and knits the midfield together and makes it effective. And this is exactly what he's done. This is the most controlled and balanced this midfield has been all season. And playing him, just switching him a little tweak from the 8 to the 6 and allowing him to be deeper, where he can pick up the ball and connect the passes. He connects the passes between the defense to midfield. He can start passes by going a little bit longer, like he did today on a couple of occasions. And he's got those recoveries, and he just adds a balance to this midfield that allows players to go off and do what they need to do. Case in point, as you mentioned, Daz, and people in the chat, Bruno Guimaraes, who I equally thought was excellent today. But it allows him to go forward and be involved and get the header that scores the goal, the second goal, because Bruno wouldn't pop up in that position if he was playing in the 6. It'd be on the edge of the box. And that's the difference in what you're seeing in performances from both of those players. Sandro allows other players to go and express themselves. And when they can do that, it means that we're a more attacking threat. It means we're more free to go and find different positions and take up different spots on the pitch that are going to ask questions of the opposition. And that's why I love Sandro Tonali, and that's why I loved his performance today, because he makes everything click. And he just makes it look so easy. Everything's 1-2 touch football. He makes football look simple. It's why I love Sven Botman, because he's exactly the same in a centre back role. Everything's 1-2 touch. He makes everything look elegant. Everything looks simple. This is what the best players in Europe do. This is what the top tier players. This is why we pay the money for these players, because this is what they provide for Newcastle United. And so now we have that. And I agree with you, Daz, and I'm with people in the chat that have said the same. We cannot not have him playing for Newcastle United now. He's one booking away from a suspension, which does make me a little bit nervous with the games that are coming up, because they're all big games.
When does that reset, Pete?
It is at the halfway stage, I believe. I could be wrong.
So
I believe
it's the Man United game.
19th game. So yeah, if we can make it to that, so obviously I don't believe, does it? I don't believe it affects him if he gets booked against Brentford. I could be wrong on that. But obviously Ipswich, Villa, and then Man United, it's those 3 games he needs to get through without getting a booking. Shaw's obviously on 4 as well. So he's close to that. We just need to get through those next few games. But Sandro Tonali, absolutely superb. Leighton says the same. Tonali in the 6th. And football, we are playing 1 touch, 2 touch, exactly that, breaking the lines and not a consequence. He's setting the tempo, and the attackers are finally loving getting the service more now. It's not a question the chat does, but what did you make of our attacking intent today? Did you notice a difference in the way in which we're attacking? What kind of stood out for you, and how impressed were you with that?
Well, it was difficult for me to see the first 20 minutes, because it was a stop start for me. But after that, around the 20-minute mark, I saw the rest of the game fluidly, and as maybe fluid is the word, really, because it was constant, and we didn't just try and sit back. We kept going as well, and we weren't happy even when we got 2. We wanted 3. So just a great all-round performance in attack, and we needed to kind of lay a statement as well. We like last year we scored so many goals. This year not so much. Where we are now, we're on 23 goals for and 21 against. So yeah, need to get that goal difference up as well. Why not? It could mean, because it's so tight, it could actually mean a few places as well as the season progresses.
Definitely. Just on the Sandro Tonali thing before we move on, he's asked this question to me, but I'll ask it to you, Daz. Michael Palmer, great to see you in the chat as always. Why has it taken Eddie so long and reluctant to see this, though, Pete? And I think he's referring to the Sandro Tonali moving into the 6th. Why do you think, Daz, it's taken Eddie so long? I've got an opinion on it, but why do you think it may have taken Eddie a little bit too long to make that decision?
Yeah, like when he came back first, he wasn't playing him there, and then he was playing every game and every minute for Italy, and then he was like stop start in when he would start for us. I don't know, because if you think about it, really, with Tonali and Bruno on the pitch, and if Tonali's not playing in that position, they do kind of seem to cross over a bit, and that's why it wasn't working. Whereas Bruno kind of lets him at it, and he can move further forward then. I don't know why it's taken him so long to tell you the truth, because he had a year of training behind the scenes to see his qualities, and before he bought him, he could see it as well. So I don't know. What are you thinking here, Pete?
For me, I just think he's prioritized finding Bruno his spot. I think he's prioritized that Bruno is arguably our most important player before Tonali walked through the door. And whilst Tonali was on his ban, and it's a case of, right, where can we find Bruno that it could be his most effective on the pitch for this midfield? And I think he's just been so regimented to that Bruno in the number 6, because we know what he gives us, and we know we can get on the ball and make things tick, that he didn't want to chop and change anything. But I think he's almost kind of been forced into it for various other reasons. More so because of Sandro Tonali's performances, he's kind of been forced into it, because he's proven he is better in that position. Because for me, He is better than Bruno as a number 6. There's no doubt about it in my mind from the recent performances that we've seen since he came in Chelsea in the Cup in that midweek game. And I think now Sandro's almost made Eddie Howe's mind up for him. I think it's been forced, which you could argue is not great because it's taken him that long. But the fact that we're here now is the most important thing. And what we're now seeing, and maybe this is something to maybe for Eddie to reflect on as a manager that's still honing his craft as a Premier League manager at the top end of the table, is that you're looking at things and you're so regimented and stuck to your ideas and your ideology that you don't see changes that can actually benefit. That's one of the big reasons. N9 absolutely he's a proper athlete. He can get around, he can glide around the pitch. He's big, he's physical, he can get around the pitch, he's got pace. They're the things that add to
later in the game as well, because Bruno does kind of tire towards the end of games, like the 70-minute mark or so.
Sandro can last 90 minutes. He proved it for Italy in the international breaks. He can do 90 minutes at playing at that level, at that tempo. When you play at Champions League highest level for AC Milan, you can play for long periods of the game doing what you do. And so for all those things, I do think he would prioritize Bruno and finding his position, and then it's always been forced upon him due to Sandro's performances. But we're here, we got there in the end, which is the most important thing. And I'm just happy about it. Any new people, we've got 200 in the chat. Make sure you're kicking those likes. We need to get to 150 for anyone that's just joined us, because Daz has got a new outro. I've not seen it. We all want to see it, of course, because they're all fantastic. Geordie Team for Life. I normally celebrate with a large Baileys, but tonight, for the first time in about 15 years, it's time for the Brune Ale.
Enjoy.
We've got the brandy out. It's a Saturday night. We've got the points. Everyone, let us know your little choice of tipple on a Saturday evening. We all deserve it. We all deserve it. Why not, eh? Lee Jones, who needs...
I put up this earlier.
Come on. He's also touched on the league is so tight at the moment. A couple more wins, and who knows, back into the top 6.
Who knows?
The music coming out, maybe?
Not yet. No. Not
Europa League.
Not till January, at least. It's January.
If we get there. Jimmy Watt. Let's talk about this man. Jimmy Watt says 2-2 and even an all cracking win today, but I'm not going to lie, I was calling Murphy online before that goal. I know we've touched on Murphy a little bit, but let's touch on him a little bit more. He deserves the conversation because
he does.
Talk about it. Let us know your
the celebration.
Feelings.
I like the celebration as well.
Very good.
Yeah. He had a few shots today. He had a few chances. He took 2. I don't know how many. I think I said it. He could have had 5 or so goals today. But no, credit where credit's due. He played well. Tried to cross the ball in as well a few times. But he shot shots from range. One went over the bar as well, a powerful one. Chris was talking about him on away days. Calling him looking for 20 million for him. On that evidence, yeah, he's worth the 20 million for sure. I was shouting at when I was listening to it on the way home in the car. I was like, half it. He's not, no way you're getting 20 million for him. But delight for him as a Newcastle fan as well as a Newcastle player. Great memories for him to look back on in the future as well. But we're still going to need a right winger. And Murphy will be there as backup.
As Lee Jones says, I can see Murphy ending his career with us. He's happy to be part of the squad and take his chance when he gets it. Sometimes do we put too much emphasis on Jacob Murphy? Do we give him too much stick? We know his limitations. We've known him for years. Do we put too much stick on him for when he doesn't perform?
Especially when he comes off the bench, and I've seen it twice. I've seen it once live where he comes off the bench and he's absolutely disaster. But when he starts, he seems to do well for us. He does have off days as well, though. He's not consistent. If he was, we wouldn't be talking about a right winger every transfer window. But good squad player, and he's part of the leadership group as well. Behind the scenes, a good character. Everyone seems to get on with him as well. Maybe the joker in the pack, but no, when he can score 2 goals like that, delighted to keep him. Well, maybe that's going overboard, but because I'll be putting him on the squad game. I'll be putting him on the transfer list.
I think we've done that every year. I'm sure we have.
Yeah.
But Niall puts in there. He's in good form. He deserves his place, but he's not a long-term right wing, and he's not. Well, you can't argue. We don't emphasize the numbers because we do look at the performances. But he's got 4 assists this season, and he's just added 2 goals to that. So 6 goal contributions already this season, more than a lot of other players in the team. You can't put it on numbers, but the numbers are there for him.
And to think where he was, where he was part of the deal to bring Steve Bruce to Newcastle at that time, going to Sheffield Wednesday. From that fall from grace to where he is now, and he's played. I think he's played in the Champions League as well. He got some minutes at least, so it's worked out okay for him. I didn't think it would. Bit of a turnaround. We all talk about Joe Linton, the turnaround under Eddie Howe, but fairness, Murphy has had some turnaround as well.
Yeah, yes, fair play to him. Great to have Shane in the chat. First time I've actually caught a live. Easier to want to after a 4-0 win. Great to see.
Enjoy, Shane.
The wins always taste a little bit sweeter, but Shane, great to have you with us. Thank you for tuning in as ever, as well. Other comments in here. Lots of comments. Lots of comments.
A question for you, Pete, as you're looking. Have you been on to any Leicester mates yet? Are you saving yourself there?
They've gone radio silent. They won't message me back. They won't message me back because the one thing I will mention to them, and I heard it, or there was a lack of hearing it, is what Lisa and Cristobal mentioned as well. The Leicester fans were the quietest I've ever known at St James's Park. I heard them once, and Cristobal says, "But Leicester don't make noise without their clackers," and it's absolutely true. Honestly, Leicester fans are away from home and at home, to be fair, are shocking. They very rarely make any noise whatsoever, and they do rely on those little horrible clacking things to be able to generate any noise. Even in their Premier League winning season, that's all they did. It's just use those clackers or those whatever they are, paper that just makes that noise. They don't sing, they don't chant. They've only got a small section of the stadium that do so, and half of them don't even travel away. So yeah, I'm calling their away fans out tonight.
Yeah. Just on Leicester, like they're sitting in 16th spot, 14 points. Ipswich are in 12 on 18, so like they're only 2 points behind, sitting in the drop zone. They probably need to go into the transfer market, I think, because there's a danger, isn't there, if they were to get relegated, that the Football League will come after them as well, isn't there? Is that because of that whole.
Yeah, they'll get points deduction if they go back into the Championship because of I think whatever the PSR was from that perspective when they're in it. Yeah. So yeah, they really don't need to get relegated right now. And they're right back in there. They're right back into the mix. Yeah. But look, they will be up and down. The one thing that we didn't talk about on away days that I spoke to a Leicester fan on Friday about at work is that this was their first away game under Ruud van Nistelrooy. Both of these 2 games previous were at home, so this was a test for them to see if they could come away and do the same job, and they couldn't. And we put them to the sword. They're not the same team away from home, and I don't.
I did see the quotes from Van Nistelrooy about Sir Bobby. He paid good respect to Sir Bobby and his memories of when Sir Bobby was there, and so fair play to him on that. But welcome to the Premier League. I think is the message to Woodman this story. See how it goes.
I'll be rubbing it in this week. I'll be giving the students some stick next week. That's for sure.
No mercy.
No mercy. But the problem is they won't want to talk. They won't want to talk football next week. They'll be like, we want to learn, sir. We want to learn. I'm like, no, you can't do that.
It's Christmas. We're talking football.
You can't do that. Whereas when we don't win a game, it's like, yeah, let's talk football, sir. What was the score at the weekend? They want to know. Because I always wear my Newcastle. I've got my Newcastle coat, so when I go in the mornings, I always wear my badge regardless. And they're always like they're either deadly silent and they look away and they don't want to talk, which they will be on Monday, or they're very chatty, like, "What was the result on what was the result of the weekend, sir?" They know the result. They're just trying to get out there. I just keep on walking. But I won't be. I'll be stopping and I'll be having a deep conversation about this week. It'll be fun. It'll be really fun. So thank you, Michael, for that. I've just made a little note to self for Monday morning to have that conversation. Jordan Toon for Life says, Daz, we need the music for Isaac at the end of the show after a magnificent performance overall, along with Hall. So I'm just giving you a little heads up on that one.
We will have it sometime, but when you win,
that's it, definitely. Let's not go over I wanted to bring this up, Das. Let's not go over the top of the performances. Leicester were the worst team at St James's Park in years. Gateshead would have beat that lot today. Shout out to Longstaff on his 200th appearance, one of our own. So what do you make of that? I've had my opinions on it with regards to Leicester, and people kind of, it's almost, if we emphasize how bad Leicester were, I do feel that we're almost downplaying it a little bit. But where do you see this? And of course, Longstaff on his 200th appearance for Newcastle. What do you make of those two things?
It wasn't Leicester's day today, right? But they'll come back again. Like if Van Nistelrooy, even if they get their home wins or the bulk of their home wins, they'll stay up. So let's see just how he adjusts to the Premier League. He's in the deep end now. It's not the Dutch league, and he's not the hiding behind Ten Hag. Let's say he's front and center. So see how he gets on. I do hear talk that he's kind of looking towards bringing in players from Man United as well, and I'm sure he may have had some ideas as well of who to bring from the Dutch league as well. So it'll be interesting to see what
Victor Lindelof.
Yes, I saw that. Yeah, name linked to it. So let's see what he does. They'll probably, depending on how they do in the transfer window, they'll probably have enough to stay up. But it is bunched there as well. Like, Wolves are in such a bad run or being unlucky as well, but I do expect them to bounce back somewhat as well. I think they do need to change the manager though, and get that new manager bounce going. But yeah, that's my comments on Leicester. Longstaff, his 200th appearance, fair play to him, Newcastle lad. I know yourself and Chris talked about the Longstaff is in the shop window as we go into January, and yeah. Why not?
What do you think about that?
Yeah, I do the same. I'd put him in the shop windows. See what kind of offers we get. I'd have a target in mind for him. But if someone comes in for that, and yeah, you guys talked about he'd do a great job for the likes of Nottingham Forest or even Leicester. You were saying as well, because the Chowdhury is playing today for the man. Like good old Chowdhury, who we've been linked to in the past for many transfer window. So yeah, he would be a decent option for them. He needs a good run of games as well, and just it'd be interesting to see what he could do outside of Newcastle. I think no harm for him. Long term, his future isn't with Newcastle anyway. So I think he does need that move. It's just the way we should be going in the future. He's only ever going to be a bit part player. So yeah, that's my thoughts on Longstaff.
Yeah, there's a couple of other people that have just put their opinions. with regards to the performance. Lee Joe says, really professional performance. Would have loved us to continue turning the screw after 70 minutes. Foot came gas a little bit. I would agree with that. I think so. Michael Palmer said, I honestly think we made Leicester look bad. We are a better team than them. We were up for it today. We would have wiped the floor with most teams today. And again, go on, Daz. I would agree with that too.
Yeah, no, I agree. Look, I agree with that one from Michael Palmer. Like we were at that kind of Liverpool levels today. We it was a must win for us. It really was. Like anything else. I said it the other day. I would have been happy with even just a 1-0, just to get the win on the board to bring a bit of confidence back to the team. I don't want them to slip to take the foot off the gas now, though, because this is only a one of 1 of 3 or 1 of 5, whatever way you want to look at it. That we've got, and we have. We need to keep going into that League Cup game. Another must win, and then a must win away from home against Ipswich. Then let's see where we are. But delighted for Eddie as well. He needed that as well. You could see from his post-match comments as well. He was happy with it, but he won't want standards to drop now either. They can't.
Can't afford to, mate. We cannot afford to let them drop. Absolutely. Some interesting ones here. Mick B, great to have you in, Mick B. Botman might be back, but our centre backs were awesome today. Difficult to drop. What did you make of Byrne and Fabian Schär today? Of course, you mentioned it, Daz, earlier. Clean sheet on the board. Do you think they were tested enough? How do you think they handled Jamie Vardy, who was going to be their biggest threat today? What did you make of Shaw and Byrne? Great question, mate.
Was Jamie Vardy there? I don't remember him today. So that says it all, really. No, he was, of course. But no, a solid performance. Do look forward to Botman coming back, though. Thought Hall was outstanding for me. But no, they needed that clean sheet as well, just to gain a bit of confidence after leaking goals the last day. With the storm as well, the wind did play a part in some of things as well, really. But against Brentford, but yeah, let's see how things go now in the rematch, the League Cup rematch with Brentford.
Another sidewinder here, obviously Harvey Barnes. You talked about Daz earlier. He came off the bench to play against his former club. Jay asked the question: do you think we need to sell Harvey Barnes in January? If January comes around and there's opportunities to trade, would he be one that you would put out the door and move him on?
Yeah, there's a lot of talk about this as well in the last couple of weeks. What do we get for him if we were to sell him? Did we pay 40 for him or something like that? I think we could have. I can't remember. But I don't think we'd get the same back for him. Anyway, I think we'd get 35 or something like that for him if we paid 40 for him. He's a year, at least about a year and a half older as well. He's scoring a few goals for us. I would, if we got a decent offer, I'd consider, depending on what other trading we're going to do. So I'm willing to trade a bit of Del Boy wheeler and dealing go into that, or the Harry Redknapp wheeler and dealer. He'd love to be called that. Into this January window. So I'll leave the option on the table. He wouldn't be the first one I'd be selling because he's good for goal. I thought it was interesting what Locke said on away days as well. How they have a nickname for him. He scores when the team go one behind. It did kind of resonate a bit because that's the kind of, remember West Ham obviously, who were the game where we're at, and we'll always have that memory of Harvey Barnes if he does ever go. One of the performance that day, but.
Brentford last week.
Exactly as well. And after the mistake, but true. he wouldn't be the first one out the door. No, there's more before him. But if it saves us, if it means we can hold on to Bruno for another season, yes, I would consider that option.
Yeah, the Golden God says there's no profit on Barnes right now in terms of
no profit. No,
we're still really early on into his contract. It does kind of make sense with what you're saying. Now it says 38 million, and Michael says if we can get close to our money back. Ali says great to have you in there, Ali, as well. I've seen you in the chat tonight. So Longstaff, Trips, Miggy, Dubravka, target first. Would they be all players that you'd be looking at moving on first?
Well, yeah, they would. Yeah, well, let's. I wouldn't give away Dubravka just yet, though, because we don't know what way Pope is going to come back. And you know that when Newcastle give timelines of injuries, it doesn't always play out that way. Longstaff, if we could get 20 million for Longstaff, I'd take it. Trips. I look at there was the talk of the 12 million to Bayern. Was it all up front? Probably not. Was kind of based on performance. We're getting nowhere near that. I'd say let things age as well. 4 or 5 for Trips. Miggy, we're looking for 25. I think if we got 17.5, I'd snap their hand off for that. For Miggy.
Yeah, it might be a bit less than that, I think.
Yeah.
And you're the one that normally halves our price.
Yeah, I'd start with 15. They'd come in with 15. I'd get them up to 17.5. Yeah. But yeah, no, and it does. The rumors are now that he's open to move now. So who knows? We'll see in January. Dubravka, I think we have to hold on to him because we've with this situation with Popey. Unless we were to bring in another keeper and then offload him, but I think he'd be gone this summer. And Dubravka target, get rid of him now if we could. But if someone even taking him on loan just to cover his whatever wages he's on.
Does Dubravka's contract run out this summer? I'm sure it does. Let me have a look.
Probably does. I could check for you. Dubravka, he is June 2025. He's up then.
So he's going regardless. If it's not in January, it's the summer because we won't retain him. But look, sticking with Dubravka, Yano makes the point. Asked the question. Big shout out to Dubravka. Not my choice, but he looked really assured today. Would you agree with that comment?
Yeah, he didn't do anything wrong. He didn't have much to do either, but he'll be tested now against Brentford. That's will be his big test. Let's see how he comes through it then. Reserve to that, but today he did. Yeah, he did grand.
Yeah, some of the lads have just said the same. No, Longstaff isn't. Longstaff's has been reactivated for another year, which is why they're considering selling him. Right?
Because they can retain the value. Then.
Yeah, that's why they've done it. So Longstaff's got another year after this.
Yeah.
He's got 18 months left on his contract. Lascelles, that is right though. He'll be up in the summer, and there's a high chance he could move. To be fair, that was one that was talked about in other circles. Wolves were linked with him. So I had questions a few weeks ago from the Wolves section because they were heavily linked with Lascelles in January because that's around the time he'll be back fit. So there's potential that he could potentially move on in January. We might not see him play for us. So there's a potential there. We move him on before his contract's out, whether we just agree a small fee or whatever it is, he goes on a free, whatever it might well be. So he can play football. Interesting one.
It is, but I can't, because of the need to strengthen elsewhere in the pitch. I don't know if we're going to be bringing in a centre back, so maybe we just hold on to him just in case as well. We're getting really nothing for him.
I think we will. I think centre back will be one of the positions. That and the right winger will be the two main positions that we'll look at.
So
we'll try and look to strengthen. So I think if we can remove, let's face it, like he'll be on a significant amount. He'll be on between 1,800 grand a week, Jamal Lascelles. So if he's If he's removed of that and you're recouping those wages, that can be potentially put into another player. And so if you are looking for another centre-back, whoever it may be, Mark Gay or somebody else, that's money that could be then given to them as part of their wages to kind of supplement the wage bill, which is why I think there's a real importance and then maybe an emphasis to a point for Trippier to move on, because he is one of our highest earners. And if he's going to be playing on the bench or his head's not in it at the club, why not move him on and recoup all of those wages? Because if you're buying another player, you can use that to entice that player in. It kind of makes sense from that point of view. But it's an interesting conversation, that one for sure. But yeah, it's Jordan Tufalife mentioned based on the comment about Shaw and Burns. Shaw's passing in the first 15 minutes was poor. But he made some great interceptions to stop Vardy from scoring. I didn't see a couple of misplaced passes early on, but I'll be honest, I don't know if you saw anything.
I didn't see the first 20 minutes really. Yeah.
So I'll be honest, after that sort of first 5 or 10 minutes, I actually didn't see anything negative from Shaw. I thought he played well after that point, but I did see only one or two for me. Jordan Tufalife, I don't know if you saw more. I only saw one or two misplaced passes, nothing hugely significant, but yeah, I thought it was pretty steady. Were you the same? Well, you've already.
Yeah, he did the bit from the 20 minute on. He did fine for me. Then after that.
Okay, couple of big questions now. Let's get into them. So obviously Eddie Howe been getting a lot of stick in the build up to this game. Alan Curry, very opinionated, and we welcome all opinions on this channel, whether we agree with you or not, or whether anyone else agrees with you in the chat or not. We feel it's your prerogative to put your opinions on there. Now let's have a chat about Eddie being replaced. Absolute nonsense. This team showed what they thought of all that noise about their gaffer. Player of the match, Lewis Hall, what a player. So strong opinions around Eddie Howe from that point of view. We got Boki though, he's got a little bit of stick in the chat early on for his comments for this comment. Crap subs from Eddie again. Good result against a poor team, but fixes nothing. Howe out. So you got very differing opinions around Eddie Howe, but obviously after that big win today, Daz, not where is your mindset on Eddie Howe, but where do you think people should be with regard to the Eddie Howe conversation? Does it change the conversation about Eddie Howe? Should we be giving him stick about the substitutions today that he made, bringing some players off quite early on and various other things? I don't know. Where do you sit on all that?
On the subs, definitely not. Because once we're 4-0 up, why are we keeping our only really, apart from Asula, striker, because Gordon isn't a striker? Why are we keeping him on the pitch? We need to be resting him, especially when we have a game in 4 days time. And I would have taken Gordon off earlier. I know it kills the match to watch as a spectacle because our best players aren't on the pitch now. But we're 4-0 up. It's a league. It's not this is the last game of the season, a cup final, and it's all over for the preseason or for the summer or whatever. After that, we have so many more games to play and a busy schedule over Christmas. So I'm happy. I don't agree with that one, Boki. But on Eddie, I would like to agree with Alan, but there's a but, and I'll bring back this picture again because it's only one win. If the challenge I set him in December was show us what you can do, Eddie. He's got a draw, a loss, and a win. So he's got one of everything so far. There's massive game on Wednesday, another massive game on Saturday, and let's see where we are then. Look, as we said, we all said we're Eddie in, but we need to see the performance from the players and see what Eddie can do with those players. Before this December, everyone knows it was West Ham and Crystal Palace the losses, and before that there was losses before then, and before that was last season. I'm not going to go into that again, but happy with today, but it's only one day. Let's see what we do on Wednesday. I don't. It's looking less likely that we will make a change in Eddie. That's fine by me. But as I said before, the window if we were going to do it is after the Ipswich game. So if we were to not get knocked out of the cup and to lose to Ipswich, that may come into people thinking again. I don't know. But I think after that, then once we hit that Villa game, we're into transfer window and so on forth. We're with Eddie till at least the end of the season. That's the right thing to do, I think. But yeah, that's really it.
Just in isolation from the game, I haven't got an issue with the subs. I really didn't.
No, neither do
I. I thought he made the subs. He brought players off early. I can see why he brought Bruno off early. You know, he does get tired quite easily.
He yellow card as well.
Exactly that. And so we're protecting him, making sure he's ready and fit and raring to go again for Wednesday. He brought Isak. To be fair, I'd have kept Isak on. I would have. He was absolutely destroying those centre backs, and he
would you have kept him on?
Well, as a striker, you don't want to come off in that situation. When you know you've got the better of those centre backs, when you know you're in a game where you've got the better of those centre backs and you can create chance after chance, and there's opportunities to score goals, you want to stay on the pitch. That's just a natural striker's instinct.
Yeah.
But I understand why he brought him off. I thought he brought him off pretty much at the right time. I think Yano's mentioned the point, and I'll throw some points up of what people have said with regards to this.
While you're doing that Peter, sorry, one thing, because I was actually surprised. The first batch of subs at the 63rd minute was Murphy, Tino, and Bruno off. I was surprised Isak was still in the pitch at that point, but maybe he kept him on just for that reason alone. Give him a few more minutes, because the next sub was 10 minutes later. That's when Isak comes. So you give him 10 more minutes to see what for that confidence booster. Let's say, see can you get another goal. So what I personally would have taken him off earlier, just to rest him and play him, because we don't have Wilson. That's really why.
Yeah, and I was and to be fair, from a selfish point, as a fan thinking ahead, I was fine with that. But I could understand that Eddie Howe's probably sort of kind of toying with that idea of he knows that Isak will want to stand because he'll want to score more goals, but he wants to protect him for the and I thought that was more than ample minutes for Willisula. I think he came on and tried to put himself about. He got a good few minutes under his belt at the back end of the game. I didn't have an issue with it. I think Yano's mentioned about Joe Linton could have been brought off early. Yeah, he could have. But he, to be fair, he was probably the one player that probably could have stayed on the pitch. He's the one player you probably don't need to protect. And as I said, I'm not too fussed about the fact that he's suspended against Ipswich, because he hasn't been playing well. He hasn't been playing well. I don't think he played overly great today either. But yeah, in terms of this situation, people have got their opinions on it. So Michael Bowman says, still think the Brentford game will determine Eddie's future, unless he can show that today's game was not a one-off. So seeing a very similar performance again on Wednesday would be great. Ali says, now the subs today were with Wednesday in mind, which is what we've both said there. Jordan Team for Life says, how in until the end of the season. Regardless of where we finish this season, then we'll talk. The first Newcastle manager in our history to get into 3 consecutive quarterfinals in the cup. And so, yeah, I think that's a fair in what he said there. Bretsy agrees with him. Totally agree. Form is temporary, class is permanent. Is that? But Yano said, as I mentioned before, 60 minutes, 4-0 up, ideal chance to take off Joe Linton, Gordon, and Isak. Now we've lost Joe Linton. But as he says, quite rightly, could have been worse. It could have been worse.
That's a lottery. You could have not taken off Joe Linton and left Bruno on the pitch, and Bruno could have got a red card or something. If he could took that yellow, let's say. So then that's a worse situation than like how many matches would Bruno miss then? Is it 3? Or
yeah, depending on the red card, if it was like a serious dangerous play. Yeah, I think he had a bit of a challenge on a player in the first half that looked a little bit iffy, in my opinion. I think if it was a little bit further
Yes.
out, it would have been potentially a red
Another
card.
one.
Yeah, we would have lost him for 3 games, which would have been a nightmare situation. But thankfully, it wasn't the case. But yeah, it could have been a lot worse, and I don't think it was a worse situation. I would maybe put that down more to Joe Linton making a really poor decision on a tackle that you didn't really need to make at that point in the game, than Eddie Howe taking him off. Eddie Howe's got trust in his players to go, yeah, I trust. Just like, let's go back to Bruno last season. He went, what, 10, 11 games without getting that next yellow card, which would have meant a 2-game ban or whatever it was. But Eddie Howe trusted him, and he played pretty much 90 minutes in every one of those games. Maybe because he had to, but he trusts his players to go, right, you're close to it. Look after yourself. Don't do anything stupid. I don't think it's too much on the manager. I think it's more the players.
Look today, from that one of who you take off. Look, because I'm sure he, towards the very end before the final whistle, Eddie was going, "Why did I bring Willock on?" When he there was a bad challenge on him right before the final whistle. I think he was okay after that, but you think he must have thought, "Oh, is he gone again?" Because Willock is like paper at times, delicate.
Yeah. Definitely. Now says subs could have been changed earlier at 3-0, but that would have been really picky, in his opinion. I think Yano says there was more concern with them getting injured, which is absolutely fair enough. With what happened with Wilson and Pope this week, I think we're all within our right minds to be a little bit worried about what could potentially happen with certain players. I don't want us to get back to that stage where we're panicking about, is a player going to get injured? Is he not? I think James Bunce has definitely had an influence on the team, and we have seen the benefits of that. We've only just got Willock back, for example. We don't want to lose him again. But Gary D says he's okay with the sub today, but this is one game. We have to keep playing well. So, again, as you mentioned, Daz, we are still in a position where we have to see how the land lies with regards to Eddie Howe. I saw this tackle. What did you make of this tackle on Willock in injury time? Was it a yellow card?
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on this, mate?
Thought it should be a yellow card. I didn't think it was a red. I was just going to watch when I showed the replay. I was watching how Willock fell more than anything else. Did he fall on anything? But it didn't. I think he just probably stayed down as well. It's just because it's Willock. If that tackle was on Joe Linton, I think the other guy bounced off him. But it's just Willock. Willock needs a run, an injury-free run, and a run of games as well. But it's so something about Willock. I'm just waiting for the next injury. It seems to be just around the corner as well.
Would he be the guy that you bring in for the game against Ipswich? Obviously, without Joe Linton, would he be the guy? Would you be bringing in Sean Longstaff? I'd throw Miley out there, but he's been playing under 21s. I don't know if he'd be in the consideration for starting, maybe in the squad. But who out of the two? Just early thoughts. Who would you?
It's probably Willock. It's probably Willock. You go in there because he's played in there before, obviously, and when we had Joe Linton on the left. So, but Willock probably is the one to step in. But I'd be having Miley on the bench for sure, and Longstaff just in case we need them as well. But as you said, Pete, it's you don't want them to be missing, but it's not a bad one to give him a bit of a break as well, and maybe get it, maybe come back even hungrier. J7.
Couple of questions before I get to the sort of bigger question that I want to throw out to you, Daz, before we obviously come towards the end. Would you change the starting 11 on Wednesday in any way? So thinking about who we started with today as our starting 11, would you keep to that starting 11? Would you make any changes? How do you see it? People in the chat put what you would do. Would you keep it as it is? Would you make any changes? Who, if you would make changes, would you bring in?
I'd keep it the same. Obviously, we have J7 for this one. No, I'd keep it the same. No, I wouldn't. I'd keep it with Tino and have Trips on the bench. No, I'd go with the same again.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'd be the same again. Same 11. Let's go and do the job. I think the way we played for long parts of that game, it would be mad to do anything other than that. To be fair, so yeah, I'm absolutely with you on that one. The great Evertonian. Well, he's celebrating his birthday tonight. His birthday was the other day. He's celebrating it tonight. He could well be celebrating it by travelling back up to Liverpool with a point in his bag after getting a draw against Arsenal. Some people, I don't know. He could be back with the Everton travelling strong back up to Everton, or he could actually be out celebrating his birthday. Who knows? Who knows? But what we do know is he's celebrating his birthday, so he will be doing that, and he'll be back, no doubt, for sure. Bobby, you must be his best mate if you're saying you must be his best mate. That's for sure. God, that's
No. Sorry, go on. My internet's running slow again, I think.
No, I just said he must be his birthday. This is an interesting one. We'll be far out. Shall we discuss getting Asula 60 minutes on Wednesday? Really? He must be having his on.
No
sure.
way. Yeah, no. It's Isak. Oh yeah, Isak all the way. Definitely. Probably in the FA Cup he'll get a good run out. This one.
Yeah, I think so. Which I hope we will be seeing Sven Botman, if not before, but we're seeing Sven Botman for that game. Hopefully before that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that may well be his first start if the centre backs keep playing the way they are. Right. Main question I wanted to ask you. A bit of a mood sourer this morning. That we woke up to.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, a piece
Hoppy.
out from Craig Hope. I have to say, I said to you boys, I question the why it was put out this morning on what was such a big game day. Could have been done Thursday, Friday, because I've read the piece and the things that he's written could have been put out at any point. So why choose today to put that out? I don't know. But anyway, this is what he put: the bombshell admission that's left Newcastle stars wanting out, and why Eddie Howe can still salvage the dream. It was a big read, lots of information there, which basically says in the piece that from the moment last January, I don't even think he gives a date. I think he puts January the 11th in the piece. But the day in which Darren Eales comes out and basically says that every player at the club has his price, at that moment changed the mentality and the attitude of the players. The players apparently were pissed off, is in his words, with what Darren Eales had said, and it made them consider whether, one, the project was going in the right direction, that it was this club that was looking to be the best it could be. And he says it made some of them question their futures at Newcastle United. Is this a place where we can win trophies, or will I have to move on in order to achieve my ambitions, using players like Gordon, Isak, Bruno as examples of that? Maybe they need to go elsewhere to be able to win trophies and the accolades that they are wanting to achieve. That's basically kind of what he said in his piece. And he talked about how Amanda Staveley and Mirdad going has kind of changed that family feel of the club. Obviously the PSR stuff and not having fresh faces coming in to kind of reinvigorate the team has made players consider various different things. So that's it. It was a long read, so I'm kind of giving you the gist of this here, just for anyone that's not read it, just to give you a flavour of the situation. Now, on the back of that, there's a comment here from Jimmy, and he just says, quite simply, what did you think about Craig Hope's article this morning? So for you, Daz, I'm going to come to you first. What was your opinion of Craig Craig Hope's article this morning when it came out. I dropped it into the chat. What was your initial thoughts when you heard of the things that were said in there?
Well, first of all, for me, that was behind a paywall. I don't know, but so I didn't read the article directly. I did read a summary from someone else about it, and I've got your summary now as well, Pete. So I do have the gist of what was said, and it pretty much circles back to what we were talking about, I think, in the State of Play show, and it was also along the lines of all this talk of the new stadium, the talk of what's happened with a new training ground. I know it's been upgraded, and there's a number of there's an awful lot of questions as well that Alan Shearer raised in his great article during the week as well. If you haven't seen that, check that out as well in the Athletic. But what we talked about during the week as well about all these things that are happening, where players sold a dream, and all the things that dream is going to take a while for that achieve, and it's this generation of players that we have in our squad now, the really, really talented players that we have, are they going to be around to see that to fruition? Like some of them definitely won't, like the likes of Trips, because they'll be too old by the time the new stadium is built or whatever. But is even the likes of Isaac going to be around? It's going to take a number of years, even if we do or modify St. James's Park or build a new one. It's going to take a number of years for that to all come into place. So yeah, you can't see why players would have been disillusioned with things and questioning can they achieve their ambitions at Newcastle. But like those ambitions should be to win something with Newcastle. It's been ages since we've won anything, to get back in the Champions League. But they also must see the losses we've had and in games that they've been played in, and they've helped secure those losses. That the Champions League is slipping, getting back into top European competition is slipping away. So they must be having doubts. But the only way they can change that is one that can look to leave and not put in the performance, or they can put the performance on the pitch, play it together as a team, and achieve their own destiny with Newcastle. Get us back to where we were season and a half ago at the football we were playing. So yeah, and the timing of the article as well. Yeah, it's a bit lame coming out on a massive game day, three games in a row. 3 games in the space of a week. But I suppose it just he also sheds light on it as well. He brings it to the masses that is thinking, and maybe it helps people understand what's going on behind the scenes as well. And but great that they didn't hold them back today. They got the job done. Job 1 of 3 or 1 of 5. But let's rock on to the next one now on Wednesday. But what's your thoughts on it, Pete?
I have to be honest. I thought it was really poorly timed. I thought it was really poorly timed. I know there's a few accounts that follow us and interact with us, big accounts on social media that have kind of thrown their weight and support behind Craig Hope and why he put it out today. I didn't quite agree with it. There's a really good comment here from Ali, I believe, further down. Is it Ali? Put it in there. Oh, no, sorry, it was Jordan to Life, I think. Really bad crack from Craig. Is there any need? It's only his opinion. Nothing is based on player facts or interviews with players. I agree with that. Like, there's nothing that was that needed that initial address. It had to go out Saturday morning. It could have gone, like I say, it could have gone out Thursday. It could have gone out Friday. It could have gone out after this game if it needed to. But I did think it was poor timing in what was such a big game for us today. In terms of the comments and the points in the article, I think there were some good points there. I don't think, through conversations that we have, I don't think there was anything that we weren't necessarily already aware about. Just being honest, we're looking at the situation, and everyone, particularly outside of Newcastle and people within the Newcastle fan base, keep mentioning the fact that, you know, Amanda Staveley, when we first took over the club, was talking about it as being where we wanted to be in 5 years. I think it's quite obvious that PSR and the changes that the Premier League made that instantly more difficult. So that initial interview that she had on the day of the takeover was almost invalid from the start. It meant nothing. And so in my mind, I've changed the way certainly in the last year, 18 months, I've changed my mindset on where I expect Newcastle to be in 5 years. And I actually think what was initially a 5-year project, in my opinion, I genuinely think, and have done for over a year now, that it's now a 10-year project. It's not a quick fix, quick push.
Yeah.
We want it to be, and we might have seasons where we outperform ourselves and we do really well. But this is ultimately, in terms of winning the trophy or pushing for the title, this is more of a 10-year project. This is not anything quick, because we have to build our revenue. We have to build all the things behind the club to make us fight on the back end of things every year. You look at the two accounts that have just come out from Man City and Man United. Their revenue, Man City, just over 700 million in a year. Man United, 650 or something along those lines. We're the best part of 300, maybe just pushing over 300, which from where we were when we first took over is massive, a massive improvement from where we were, but it's still nowhere near those clubs. So we are still a way away from getting there. We will get there, but it will take time. So I'm aware of that, and the project has slightly changed. Now, PSR's changed that as well. The one thing I kind of question is the players. Because the noises that we get from players is that there isn't this unhappiness or unrest. I think there was in the summer with the likes of Gordon and whatever, but he signed a new contract now. The thing with Alexander Isak, I don't necessarily disagree with the club's stance. If the club are saying there's no point signing a contract right now because it will affect PSR, I agree with that. He's still got 3 years left in his contract in the summer. It doesn't make sense to do it right now if it's going to affect us potentially going into the market and spending. So all of these things I do agree with from an aspect of the club. But to the points that he made, I think were valid points. I don't disagree with many of them. I just think it was really ill-timed. And I think it was hard to take because there was a lot of reality in those things that are not nice to hear and not nice to read. So the fact that, you know, players may have to move on within this section of our build and go on to other and bigger, better things to achieve their targets is not nice to hear, when they were probably sold the dream of they could achieve it here, and maybe they will have to go elsewhere to achieve that. I think there's a realization that may have to happen now. We can control the narrative of when that happens, but I think there's a reality of it. And I think the reason why there was a lot of pushback is the timing of it and the fact that it says things in there that are very difficult to hear. And they are. It's not nice to hear that the likes of Isak may have to leave, the likes of Bruno may have to leave. I don't think Gordon will leave for at least a couple of years, but if he does, it won't be nice for him to leave. And that's the frustrating thing about it all. But that's kind of where I am. I thought the points were valid, poorly timed, didn't need to go out today. But I'm just really glad that it didn't derail the players or affect the fans or anyone else, and we managed to get the job done. But so that's kind of where I am at this point in time.
Yeah, Jory Two for Life points to the Gordon interview as well, and as well, it does kind of contradict what Hopi says to some degree as well. The other thing that you had mentioned there about the 5 years and the 10-year, Amanda's initial interview right after the takeover, which was kind of spun on her as well. And I suppose at that time, the rules were just being put together by the cartel to try and slow us down and block us out. So if those rules hadn't come in place, we'd be talking a different situation, and that those 5 year might be more accurate. But yeah, if you think about it, the amount of young players we have coming through, like we seem to be snapping up like a lot of clubs are, though. A lot of the high-end clubs are, and they'll have to come through our system, I suppose, and get playing as well. So that'll save us buying, needing to purchase in certain positions as well. So, like, instead of going out and buying Lewis Hall, we'll have someone coming through in a different position, because Lewis Hall is going nowhere. But yeah, it is going to take a while. The project is going to take a while, and sure, isn't it a great journey along the way?
And I'm talking about sustained ability to fight at the top end. This is the point I'm making: is that
strength and depth.
You want to be that Chelsea or that Man United or that Tottenham. Tottenham are the best run business from their accounts in the Premier League, as been reported by a good friend of ours, Kieran Maguire. They're the best business, but they just choose not to spend their money. That's on them. But we have the ability to claw them back and get close to them in the future years to come. And once we're there and we are generating as much money as them, and I do think, and I still maintain, a new stadium will bring us a lot closer to that, a lot quicker. And once we get there, we can guarantee that revenue every year. And that means that we can spend more money on transfers. It means that we can compete with those type of players. We'll have the stadium. We've got the fan base. We've got everything in place to be that team. But the revenue stops us from religiously and being able to spend big money on transfers year in, year out, and pay bigger wages and do the rest of it. That's the thing that's going to take a little bit of time. And it's really interesting that, Manor Stadium made those initial comments on the takeover day. He then made the comments again when we lost the cup final. And Eddie Howe said in his interview with Simon Jordan that although she said those comments, he made the point of saying they were very much reactionary comments. They're instinctive comments. They're not comments that have been openly spoken about within the confines of the boardroom when they have these conversations about the club. So it very much tells you that the owners, PIF, the Reuben brothers, and the club in general, they have a long-term vision of this club. So when people say, "Oh, PIF are not interested anymore," they are. They're in it for the long haul. They are. They're invested in Newcastle United, and now they have the World Cup in 2034. For me, that emphasizes even more point in the investment of Newcastle United, because they will try and build Newcastle United's name alongside Saudi's name, because we will have an influence on that. With the World Cup being built, they'll want to put their influence on Saudi Arabia into the Premier League through Newcastle United to build it up ready for that World Cup. So those kind of things will benefit us as well. And when we're in a position to properly invest, we know that PIF have got the money to invest it in us, but they just know right now that they can't, because we don't have the capacity to do so.
I think that question of how in our PIF now will be answered in the first 3 months of the next year, because we have the January transfer window. We'll get some answers there, and then the whole what's going to happen with the stadium. We know then we have a better idea what their long-term objectives are, because it's coming. Something to look forward to there. Just on that, still on that article, I see this one from Ali as well. Yeah, the long haul trips to Japan and Oz were mentioned as well. Again, after a long, hard season where we were decimated by injuries. I know this is the marketing strategy to promote us in different markets, but it was tough on the players after the season, and they had it probably raised a few questions for them as well. Are they kind of being worked?
And this is the thing, Daz. Like, yeah, of course, it's not ideal for the players to go traveling the other side of the world. I think Eddie Howe, I think the whole club made reference to that. Amanda Staveley, Darren Eales, they all made reference to it. It's not ideal, but when you're a team that is chasing every little bit of revenue that's possibly available. Yeah. And Ali makes another further really important point as well. When you're chasing every little bit of revenue and you're being offered £3 to £5 million for a few days in Australia, you're going to take it, because that £3 or £5 million goes straight on PSR. And it proves the point now that £3 or £5 million, however much it was crucial in this passing PSR. Like it was absolutely crucial. So I think if we weren't so close to PSR, I don't think it would have happened. But now we saw what happened at the end of June, early July, in our late scramble. I can now understand why the club did it, because they needed every little bit of money they possibly could have in order to meet PSR. Like, I don't think that happens again in the future. I don't think we go swanning off to the other side of the world in the future, but we had to because of the situation that we were in. So as a fan, I understand why they're doing it. Of course, I didn't agree with it. I don't think anyone would agree with us doing that. But I understand now, having seen what's happened, why they did it. And it is what it is until we're in a better position. But Ali makes the point about the training ground and the sponsors. I agree. The training kit sponsor, the training ground sponsor, I think, it is maybe a little bit more difficult to answer because we don't know what's happening with the training ground. Is it going to be announced with what's happening with the stadium, or are we just going to rebuild on it and name the training ground something different there, or the stadium? Or are those things going to be announced at the same time as like these mega money deals that could like really kind of project us onto something else? I agree that there are still sponsorships left to be done, and Peter Silverson's still got a hell of a lot of work on his hands, but we've made it already.
Oh, we definitely have. We definitely have faith. The other thing is, and I'm thinking back to the comments I saw about that article, was communication. It has been a bit poor the last of late as well. I know there's like the talk-ins at Stacked, and then we're getting information from that. But I suppose because we're waiting on a lot of answers, it has been, and we're also there's a CEO with Darren Neals needing to step down. When's that change gonna happen? And he's on the way out of the job. He's doing the job at the moment, but it's not ideal either, to be honest. Credit to him as well for doing the job while he is sick. Lots as always, there's lots to talk about. Let's enjoy our win today, though. For Pete Daly, the Leicester boy, gets his win on his derby. But it's all onto the cup on Wednesday. But we will be back as well for Top Table Talk during the week. Maybe with a draw and a reaction as well. We'll see how that plays out. And of course, away days for Ipswich. And you never know. We don't know ourselves what's around the corner half the time, and neither do you, as what's going to happen with Newcastle. And but if something does happen, we're on it as soon as we can. Also, another shout out for our Avon boy. He hasn't been called Avon for a while, only behind the scenes. But if Brett says if he's 30, it's not a great advert for Avon. Like that, Brett. Chris will too. But yeah, what was our number in the likes? I did check it a second ago. I did see about 130 or so. Dave Bullman as well in the chat. Great result for all Brentford. Semi-final coming. Hope you're right there, Dave. Hope you are right for that one. Due a trip over, of course. Again, I'd say. You check it, Pete. Are we going to give them the new outro, new music outro?
Let's have a look. See. So we are currently.
You deserve it.
We're 130 likes. Come on.
It was close. This is what you could have won. Right, we'll play it anyway. Make sure you smash the like button on the way out, and if you're watching this back, smash it as well. That's it, I think.
Yeah, we'll be back for more. But as you said, Daz, at the end, let's celebrate the big win. We got it. It was a brilliant performance. We haven't had many of them recently, so let's enjoy it. And hopefully we can take that into Wednesday and be in the semi-finals of the League Cup.
Go on. Here's Like a Loaded Magpie. Good night, everyone.
Each and every single day, I know I'm gonna have to eventually